Welcome back to Pickleball Journey. Today we are talking about one thing that you should stop doing.
My name's Elijah.
I'm Justin.
Let's get into it. Dang it. All right, guys, so this goes into our kind of the number one thing that we want people to stop doing, right? Obviously, we need more points than this, but when we start a game, right, I see a lot of people trying to hit that perfect drop right off the bat, right at the beginning of the game, without trying our highest percentage shot, right? A drop is a very difficult shot. So at the beginning of the game, test out your opponent with a drive first. That's what I recommend, that's what Justin recommends. Now, we're not saying don't drop it ever. We're just saying start out with some drives to test the volleys of your opponent and see if they can even get back your drives. Because if they can't, why would you drop, right? Why would you risk dropping if you're able to make these drives and they're missing their volleys, or even leaving it short for you to hit an even easier drop, right? So make sure that in the beginning of that game, let's go back and do another one, right?
Yeah.
So I'm serving, right? This is, 0-0 start, right? I'm hitting this, right? And I'm gonna start out with a drive, okay? And now, even on that one, right? It's middle of the court. I can more easily drop that one than his original return that's a little bit deeper, okay? So I'm gonna start out testing his volleys because and both your opponents, especially if you're playing doubles, because you never know if their footwork's bad, their form is bad, and they're just mishitting, or they're even having a bad day with volleys.
Yeah. Right? And pickleball is such a momentum sport. Mm-hmm. So to start off with a good start versus missing shots right off, testing your opponents, and again, what we're saying here, we're not saying don't drop. We're saying don't only drop. Yeah. Because that's often sometimes what we see at the intermediate to beginner level is they've been told to just hit a drop on every shot. For sure. Mix in that drive, because that's really gonna, as Elisha said, that's gonna test maybe which opponent is better. It's gonna test their volley skills. But it's also just gonna get you warmed up, because essentially early on, you're not feeling it as much. Your touch will improve as the game goes on. Those drops will get better.
Well, and as the game is evolving, we're seeing a lot better returns and deeper returns. So when you engage with your opponent.
Hey, speaking of engage, thanks to the sponsor of this video, Engage, but more on that later.
So when you're engaging with your opponent, man, play on words there. The opponent, say they hit a big return deep, right? And you're way back behind the baseline, right? This is I'm very far from my target. So to be able to hit a great drop, even moving backwards a lot of times, because I get caught moving backwards, especially if it's a deep return, okay? Then it's probably not the best option. Drive the ball, right? And if we don't know how to drive, right? Learn how to drive. It's just as important as a drop or anything, because you have to be able to mix things up. If you just do one thing or the other, it's not gonna go well for you. Especially in those difficult situations when it's very difficult to be focused and hitting clean with that touch.
We'll do another example here in just a second, but the other thing that we wanna stop doing, and this is often, I need to tell myself this, general rule, don't hit more than 2 drives in a row. So if I'm Elisha here, so Elisha's gonna hit some drives, I'm at the net. Once you hit 2 drives in a row, either your opponent is gonna get grooved in, or you're gonna overhit and miss. So watch here, Elisha's gonna hit some.
I'm gonna hit some.
There's one. There's the miss. So
they got the 2 there.
It's a little tougher when we're doing it like this, but when you're in a game, you will notice that as after you hit that second drive, your opponent's really gonna be expecting that drive on the third one, because you're getting in a groove, you're really ripping the ball. But that's when you really want to mix it up at that point.
And Justin's saying a general rule to keep in your mind, right? There's always exceptions to anything any coach ever tells you. If you are feeling good on the drive, like, you can't miss it, right? And you can tell they're backing up, they're afraid, right? then you can keep driving if you just feel completely on, right?
Yeah.
So we're not saying, okay, this is a rule, you gotta stand by it. But as a general rule, at least in our experience, when we're hitting that third drive, ooh, yeah, we're gonna be most likely pushing it or missing it. So, but by that time as well, those 2 drives has generally generated a ball that we can easily drop in and then come in and be at the kitchen line.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit easier to finish a point there than hitting some massive like passing shots, especially in doubles.
Definitely, love it. Hey, if you guys like this content, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help us out. All right, real quick, we love these Engage Pals. We've got a 20% discount code in the description. These pals are gonna bring your game to the next level, and you're gonna win every match.
Guaranteed. Engage.